So here's the starting grid after the sprint race. The two titans of Razor and Chris start alongside each other for the second race running. Piquet takes third with Bali Pepe fourth. This is the first time he scored points for Mercedes since Australia in round 3. Audi's Evan starts 5th with Dom alongside him, who recovered from a late sprint penalty. Piovano continues to carry Haas, taking 2 points in the sprint, with Vishnu taking the last points paying position in 8th. Fisher's teammate Stealthy only starts 9th, with the second Mercedes of Basketic starting 10th. Poke for Brawn starts 11th, with Jar and the Williams only managing 12th in the sprint. And on the final row, both Neer and Ladesky couldn't finish the sprint. They start 13th and 14th. Alright then, 5 laps ahead of the drivers again here at Leyston, and it is lights out and away we go from Razor Hyper, and already clear in the lead of the race. And into turn 2 he's ahead. But look at Bali Pepe, who's also made up a few positions. Starting from 4th, he's now up to 2nd and ahead of the Red Bull of Chris. There's Jar, who's also looking very competitive at the first few corners, as we see a few slides from the Alfa Romeo of Ladesky and the Brawn of Poke. So Razor Hyper leads us away. But look at the Williams of Jar, who's flying through the pack and getting ahead. He's now got himself into the lead of the race. So Jar with a very interesting strategy here. He's underfueled compared to the other guys, and he's nearly lost the car there out of turn 9. He's got to be careful with that apex curve for the remainder of the race. Going through to the middle sector, Chris is back up into 2nd place. Razor Hyper has disappeared. Razor Hyper has gone down to 5th. As we see once again, the Alfa Romeo almost loses the car on the curb. Neer started from 13th on the grid and has made his way up to 2nd place. He does not get DRS though, and the cars behind, such as Vishnu and Stealthy, does. So this is once again a very interesting race start. Oh! Dom went very wide and hit the wall there. He almost crashed his car almost. I think he might be struggling with his brakes again. So Jar's leading, but not for long, because Neer is now ahead of the Williams. And that's also Stealthy, who's gone up into 3rd. Evan is shown as 3rd on the leaderboard, but I think he's actually 4th at the moment and battling with Chris. Chris goes deep. Chris has gone deep and just lost 3 positions at turn 10. He's going to fight back, but Razor Hyper is also behind him, so he's got to be careful. His championship rival, Razor Hyper, he beat Chris to the line at the sprint earlier. And once again, Chris losing points to Razor. However, he is ahead of Razor at the moment, but apparently Razor is actually down to 6th right now. Yeah, 7 has almost spun. That's the Williams who's gone wide. Jar. So Stealthy now is going to take the lead of the race, because Jar has just gone wide. No, Jar is still fighting. Jar is still ahead. Who's got DRS? It's the 2 Audis. Of course it's the 2 Audis. They're so lucky. They've got the DRS, and they're able to follow through here on the long straight. Razor Hyper's making some gains, you know. He's up into 5th now. He's just made the move on Neer and up into 5th. So this long DRS train of cars with the top 6 and then Pika and Bali as well, they're going to be able to follow very, very well in this race. And this just kind of reminds me of Qatar, where a lot of cars were following very, very well. With their DRS. Stealthy is now in the lead, with Jar still clinging on to 2nd. Where does Stealthy go? Stealthy has lost his car and almost crashed into the wall. Now I saw him do that in practice, and I said the drivers have to be aware of that. Well, Stealthy has just made the same error he made in practice, and I think he's now going to drop down all the way to 7th place. So in the lead, it's Jar? No, Evan. Evan's currently first on the leaderboard, but Jar is first on my screen. Which doesn't really matter. So here's Evan. He's got no DRS, but he's launching an attack on Jar. But Jar is still in the lead. I do not understand how Jar is holding on so well so far. Oh, look at Razor. Razor Hyper is making gains. He's up into 4th again, with Stealthy also going up to 5th after his error earlier. So you can see Chris got DRS, but Evan does not. They're really on the limit at turn 10, trying to brake as deep as possible, but also not going too deep into the corner and possibly going into the gravel. I think Evan made a mistake out of turn 11, so that will give an opportunity for Chris to slot himself up into 2nd place. These are important gains for Chris to climb his way back up to the championship lead. Currently, he is once again, he's gaining 6 points at the moment to Razor Hyper in the championship, and he was 22 points behind Razor before the race week, and he also lost out 1 point earlier. Speaking of lost out, he's just lost out 2nd place to Razor, because Razor Hyper is absolutely pushing now. Here he comes. He's blasting past ahead of Jar here. The 2 championship contenders. Oh, Stealthy. Stealthy has gone wide, gone deep into turn 10. As I said, the drivers are very, very brave and pushing the limit. Oh, and that is Fish Noob, who's crashed in a very unusual position, but he is definitely on track, and that is going to be a safety car. I can't see Raf. See behind the grandstand? Oh wait, Raf is at turn 2. Someone stayed out. Oh my god. Near has stayed out. Okay, go Raf. That's a lot of positions that Dom just got. Oh, Evan's going. So here comes the Audi. He's going to take the lead of the race, and out of the final corner we are going to resume our 11 laps of racing remaining. Razor Hyper almost... No, that's not Razor. That was Poke. He almost lost it on the straight. Where is Razor Hyper? He's down to 9th. I don't know what happened with him in the pit stop phase, but Razor Hyper is dropped all the way down to 9th. So Evan leads with Jar in 2nd, Chris in 3rd. Dom has got himself all the way up to 4th. Evan's moving over to the right side of the track to try and break the slipstream again, but that's not going to work because there's barely any slipstream on this game. So you can see Evan and Jar is both pushing. I have no clue who's going to win. It could be Baskatek. I mean, he genuinely has a shout to win the race. You can't tell me you can predict the winner from here. Because Chris was leading earlier, he's down to 4th. He could finish fucking 6th or something. So it's Bally leading with his teammate Baskatek in 2nd. Bally might just get DRS from Near here. Oh, Near moves out of the way. And so Bally Pepe does not get DRS. And that will help out his teammate Evan and a bunch of other people behind as well. Razor is only 6/10 within the lead. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh my god, what the hell? I just got big ol' lag spike. Like, my game just froze for about 10 seconds. So Bally's still leading, but Razor has fought his way up into 5th. I'm pretty sure everyone's fuel is good enough to push, including Evan and Bally, who have both overfueled by quite a lot. We are on to the final lap of the race, and just like Qatar, it may well come down to the DRS again. Razor Hyper has just snatched the fastest lap of the race, which has now been taken by Dom. So we'll see how the drivers will be able to take on this final lap. Bally Pepe's in the lead. Will we give away DRS to a bunch of people behind them? The answer is only Evan and Razor has got it. So this has massively benefited Razor. I remember Razor dropped down all the way to 10th after serving his penalty a couple of laps ago after the safety car restart, but now he has a very good chance to win. He's right behind Bally Pepe, and so is Pika. This is going to be one of the closest finish I remember, and this might even be closer than Qatar here. Bally Pepe is going through the second last corner. He's still ahead, but can he hold on to the lead? He holds on for one more corner. For the final corner, can they make an overtake? Possibly. No, I think Bally Pepe might be ahead here. Here he comes across the line. No, it's Pika who takes it. Pikachu. Oh my god.
After that extremely chaotic race, Pikachu wins for Ferrari and Razor Hyper finishes in P2. Bally Pepe might go in P3 and Chris, championship runner-up in P4. Piavana for Haas finishes P5 with Basketic in P6. Stealthy finishes P7 for McLaren, and 2 Hong Kong drivers of Dom and Ja finish 8th and 9th. Evan rounds out the top 10. As for the Drivers' Championship, Razor Hyper remains in the lead, with Chris in 2nd. Pikachu jumps up to P3 after winning the race as Stealthy drops down to P4. Evan stays in P5, and Dom up to 6th for Ferrari. Deal with Romza, who's been kidnapped by the Taliban ever since New Zealand, has dropped down to 7th. Bally Pepe is up to 8th. Denny Denner is down to 9th, and Piavana rounds out the top 10. As for the constructors, Braun GP is up to P1 and Red Bull drops to 2nd. Ferrari stays in 3rd, Audi stays in 4th, McLaren stays in 5th, but Merc is up to 6th after an impressive drive from Bally Pepe. Aston Martin drops to 7th after not having any drivers. Haas is up to 8th, Williams is down to 9th, and Alfa stays in last.